Ubisoft has been putting in a lot of effort into fixing a lot of the problems in Siege. However, something that has not been acknowledged by the developers as a problem so far is the solo queue experience in Siege. Because of this, in today's video, I want to go over everything that's wrong with solo queue and give Ubisoft some suggestions on how to fix solo queue to make it better in Siege hacks. So hopefully you all enjoy. Now, one of the biggest problems with solo queue in Rainbow Six Siege is the fact that you can get queued up against 5 stacks. When you click that queue button as a solo player, you're risking going up against an enemy team that's going to be much more coordinated than yours and that's going to be able to communicate with each other via Discord.
One's tower stairs, tower stairs.
When you get put up against 5 stacks like this, the odds are already stacked against you. You're basically guaranteed to lose those games because you're not going to be able to rely on your random teammates as effectively as that 5 stack will. And speaking of communication, another huge issue that plagues solo queue is the fact that communication is difficult without mics. If you've ever played solo queue for an extended period of time, you likely know that there are a lot of players in Rainbow Six Siege that don't have microphones, or at the very least, they just choose not to use them. This results in your team having to rely on either text chat or pings to get communication across, and this is not nearly as effective as voice chat. Because of this, games in solo queue kind of devolve into less strategy-based Siege, and then a lot of times they just turn into a run and gun fest because players really don't have the means to communicate with each other and they don't really want to have to bother with it. And even if your teammates are communicating with you via voice chat, there's a high probability that they're going to be toxic. Siege has a huge toxicity problem, and it gets even worse in solo queue because you don't have any friends in your game that can help you out. You'll run into teammates all the time that will just blame you and get mad when they die, and they'll just scream in the microphone. They'll start throwing the game when they start performing poorly, and there's many cases of players just being racist and sexist in voice chat. And since in solo queue you don't have any teammates to help back you up in those situations and you're kind of on your own, you can get queued against a group of friends that just choose to be toxic against you in ranked for no reason. This toxicity contributes to 2 issues. One, it causes a lot of people to just give up on solo queue altogether because they don't want to have to deal with it, and it also causes a lot of people to end up just disabling their voice chat and text chat altogether, which means that there are less players communicating, which makes the skill gap between solo queue and 5 stacks even worse. Another issue that contributes to solo queue being so miserable is the fact that there is a wide skill disparity in a lot of matches in rank 2.0. Right now, Siege still has an issue in my experience and in the experience of many others in the community I've talked to of matches being extremely imbalanced. This means that either your teammates are a lot worse than you or your enemies are a lot better than your teammates and yourself. And what this results in is games often ending in a 4-1 or a 4-0 scoreline. When games end like this, they're just no fun. You're either getting absolutely steamrolled or you're just steamrolling the enemy team. And that issue is compounded in solo queue because of the reasons I mentioned earlier, where you can just get put up against a 5 stack that can just out communicate you. This results in solo queue being even more predictable because you never know what skill level your teammates are going to be, and you never know what skill level your enemies are going to be. So you can't really know what to expect. Just the other day, I queued into a ranked game, not even solo, just with some friends. And on the enemy team, there was one guy who had been champion every single season for the past 5 seasons, which is totally expected considering my skill level. But I had also found 2 players on the enemy team that had been hard stuck gold for multiple seasons in a row. These kind of experiences reinforces the idea to me that rank 2.0 still has a game imbalance problem. And obviously I don't have the stats behind it to prove it, but I do strongly believe that rank 2.0 still has that issue. And I think it definitely needs to be resolved to make solo queue actually playable. But it's not even just a solo queue specific problem. Solving this issue would be beneficial to all players in the player base. And now, because of these 4 issues that I've discussed, it makes ranking up in solo queue way more difficult. This is why you see YouTubers all the time doing solo to champion series where they'll solo queue in ranked all the way up to the champion rank. The reason why those series are interesting is because of how difficult it is for the average player to do that. Not to mention the amount of funny moments they're able to get out of it because of their teammates being toxic to them or their teammates just being bad. Now, how do we make solo queue less annoying and more fun to play? Well, I think Ubisoft needs to bring it more in line with 5 stacks and people queuing with their friends. And I think there's a couple ways they can do that. Firstly, I think Ubisoft should increase the hidden MMR of players who play in 5 stacks. This will put players who queue in 5 stacks in higher level lobbies, meaning that solo queue players will have a higher probability of queuing with other solo queue players or other players not in a 5 stack, and it will make it a lot harder for 5 stack players to be able to just steamroll through lobbies. I also think that Ubisoft could give a small RP boost to solo queue players to reward them for winning without teammates. This could be a small, like 10% increase for queuing by yourself, but having this small increase would help to make solo queue a much more popular method of queuing ranked, which would make queue times a lot quicker for players queuing in any sort of configuration, and it would also make ranking up in solo queue a lot easier compared to before. Because now not only would 5 stacks have a higher MMR, but you'd also be getting slightly more RP in your matches, meaning that there'd finally be an incentive for queuing in solo queue. Now, a third thing that I think Ubisoft could do to improve the solo queue experience is add quick chat keybinds similar to Rocket League. And these quick chat keybinds could allow players to call out that they're going for the plant. They could allow the players to call out for their teammates to go for the plant, and they could also be used for other things like telling teammates to throw their gadgets into certain positions or to call out enemies in a location. Adding quick chat functionality like this would help players who don't have microphones or who just don't like to talk in voice chat in the middle of their ranked games to have a way to communicate with their teammates that's a little more effective than just giving a yellow ping, and that's a lot quicker to do than typing in text chat. Because the problem with text chat in Siege is that you have to stand still to do it. If they added a quick chat functionality, you'd be able to just click a button on your keyboard and that message would get sent to the text chat for all your teammates to react to. I also think this would offer players the opportunity to communicate with their team without having to deal with toxicity, because Ubisoft could add a new privacy setting that allowed players to disable all forms of communication except for the quick chat. And this would open up opportunities for players who really wouldn't normally have chat enabled to now have some way of getting callouts from their teammates. And a fourth thing that I think Ubisoft should do to improve the solo queue experience that kind of relates to toxicity is to improve the reputation system, because right now the reputation system is not good at tracking player nicknames, and it's also not very good at accurately detecting toxic chats and deleting them. And this allows players to run really toxic usernames and type really nasty things in text chat and just get away with it. And Ubisoft has already announced and committed to improving the reputation system over time. I just wanted to reiterate that because right now toxicity is a really big issue, and in solo queue especially, it kind of makes the game miserable. And the final thing that I think Ubisoft should do to improve solo queue is to improve the actual hidden MMR system related to Rank 2.0. The reason I'm saying this is because Rank 2.0 right now has a problem of putting players in matches with a massive skill disparity. You could have matches full of silver and gold players that have widely different skill levels and that are vastly better and worse than each other. And this results in many matches ending in 4-1 or 4-0 victories, and it just makes ranked not nearly as fun to play as it used to be. And this issue obviously affects solo queue because there's even more possibilities for rank disparity to be a big deal, because now you could have solo queue players of completely random skill levels going up against a 5 stack of all the same rank. And this can result in matches feeling very unfair for the solo queue players. I'm not a developer and I have no idea what goes on in the back end of the rank system, but all I know is that Ubisoft definitely needs to do something to try to target this issue within the Rank 2.0 system. But they need to come up with a way to make matches more balanced, and if they already are statistically, they need to come up with a way to make them feel more balanced, because a lot of players right now have the issue of Rank 2.0 not feeling fair and feeling very, very boring because of those quick matches. I think if Ubisoft can manage to address the issues I brought up in this video and potentially take some of the ideas I discussed and implement them, I think solo queue will immediately become a lot more fair and enjoyable to play. It's still never going to be as good as a 5 stack, and I don't think anyone can expect it to be, but it will definitely be easier to compete against a 5 stack with these changes implemented, and it will be less annoying to do so. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video covering one of Siege's most forgotten issues. People really don't talk about it, and Ubisoft really doesn't talk about it either. If you agreed with anything I said in this video, let me know in the comments down below. And also, if you have any ideas of your own to improve solo queue, definitely let me know as well, because any advice or ideas that Ubisoft could potentially use to improve Rank 2.0 going into Siege X would be absolutely amazing. Keep in mind, I made this video for that purpose. I'm not trying to hate on Siege, and I'm not trying to hate on Ubisoft. I just think with Siege X coming right around the corner, there is a good opportunity here for Ubisoft to make some pretty groundbreaking changes to Rank 2.0 to make solo queue a little more playable. Now, if you did enjoy today's video, I make Siege content just like this twice a week, so go subscribe to the channel and follow me on Twitter if you don't want to miss the next upload. If you want to watch another video just like this one, a video will be popping up on your screen right now that I'm sure you all enjoy. I'll see you next time, friends, and peace.